Hey guys, it is Christine. Welcome here to my channel. Today I am going to be sharing with you a flip through of the Gather Around letters and numbers. If you're new, I am a homeschooling mama of 3. I live here in New Zealand with my husband. Our kids are 6, 4, and 2. And I share homeschool content. So if that is something you're interested in, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button so I can have you along. Today I'm sharing with you a flip through of the Gather Round Letters and Numbers curriculum. We are actually on the second book of the series that they have produced. I've actually got like a gazillion textbooks on my bed right now because I've been filming a lot of videos today. And I have done a video on the first book. I didn't do a flip through. I just did like an overview of it. So I will share the link to that here so you can go and check that out. But we're on the second book. So I'm going to show you what it comes with, and then I'll do a little bit of a flip through, and you can just see for yourself if it's something that would be interesting to you. So the way that it is set out is I've actually got 4 books. The first 2 cover the alphabet, that kind of splits the alphabet in half, and then the second 2 cover the alphabet again, but just at a little bit of a higher level. I believe they introduced some early reading concepts as well. So I have been doing, I say we, my husband is at work all day. He doesn't do any of the homeschooling as far as academics. But I've been doing this curriculum with my daughter, Annie, who is 4.5, and we've been really enjoying it. So I just want to share it with you. So all of the books come with a teacher's guide, which looks like this. And in the teacher's manual, you get the stories for each lesson. So each lesson has a little story, and then it has some questions, and it also has a little part from the Bible. So honestly, we haven't done a lot of the Bible part because we're already doing a lot of Bible curriculum with my son, and Annie sits in on that. But this is really cute if you wanted to add this in. So that is what the teacher's manual is, and I believe there are about 52 lessons. I'm pretty sure the other one was 52 lessons as well. So it's 13 weeks worth of lessons, and it's based off of a 4-day week. So that is what each one is. And then you get the student books. Now, I've done something a little bit different with my student book because I bought the PDF version. It actually comes split in 2, which apparently they changed it. It came as 1, and then they changed it to split in 2 because people wanted it to be more easily maneuvered and carried around by little ones. I felt like it was a waste to have to make 2 different covers and 2 different books. So I just combined them all into 1 book. So we've got all of the activities in here. So that's what the student handbook looks like. There's also stuff in the appendix that I chose not to include. Like there were things like the alphabet, like a poster kind of thing, and we just didn't need that. So I just didn't print those out. But you can, if you order the physical copy, it'll be in there, or if you want to print it off yourself, you can. Like you could print it and print those and laminate them, and they'd be beautiful. But we just don't need that because we've got those already. So I'm going to flip the camera around and I'm going to show you what's inside. Gather Round's curriculum is beautiful. I haven't used any of their curriculum to any great extent except for this. And we've done their Christmas unit. So that's all I have to go off of. But these are the 2. So we've got the teacher's guide here, which I'll show you first. And then you can see what the preschool activity book looks like. So I have excluded some pages because, you know, I don't want to have to print stuff if I don't actually need to. But there's like a little note to the teacher in there from Rebecca. It shows you different pages in the book and what they cover. And just like your supply list and some general encouragement about the curriculum and what to expect from it. You've got a skills checklist, which honestly, we don't use a lot of that kind of stuff, but it is great for those of you who do want to use it. And then you've got your table of contents here. So obviously this one is farm-based. The one before this was in the forest, but they're all beautiful. So there's like a synopsis of what the week will cover. Kind of goes over there. There's tips and tricks that they show you. And then it moves into the actual lesson. So this is what a page looks like for a lesson. And they're all pretty much the same. They usually give 2 lessons to each thing. So here it's talking about Holly Horse. There'll be a little story about Holly Horse, and it also talks about like the sound that her name might start with. There are questions that you'll ask your child after reading the story. And then there's also a little spot here where there's like a biblical story as well. And you refer to the Bible there and read to your child out of that. It also shows you at the top there what they'll do in their activity book, and you can tick those off as you go. So you can see there's Holly Horse on that side. And then again, you talk about Holly's hooves. So it talks about each animal or creature or plant or whatever it's focused on for a couple of days. And the Bible stories also build on each other. So like here they talk about apples. And then at the end of the week, there's like a little review page here where you can ask your child some questions or get them to show you their comprehension for a subject. And then there's also always an optional activity at the end and a prayer prompt as well. And then it starts at the next one right here. There's also a little planning list on the side there if you want to use something like that. But I do like that it gives you a snapshot of the week and that you focus on it for more than just one day. Is nice to go over things. So there we go. And that's how the book carries on right the way through. And then right at the end, I'll show you the number of lessons. So it shows you your week's numbers, which is really your week numbers, which week you're in. But it also shows you the lesson numbers. So at the top there of your page, you can see it says week 13, lesson number 52. So that is your teacher's manual. And so far, the two different books that we've done, the two different units we've done, have had the same layout. Pretty much the same layout. So that's a teacher's guide. And then we move on to the student notebook. And I just wrote Annie's name on there before I laminated it so it could stay on there. And like I said, I combined these. So if you bought the physical copy, you would have two separate books. So you got the table of contents. I don't think I bothered putting in the teacher's note, or it might be on the next page, but I did exclude a few things from here because she can't read. She doesn't know. Okay, so there's a little bit here, and then here are some of the activity pages that we've already done. Now you'll notice on the side here that these pages are cut. That was a little hack I learned from like a homeschool group somewhere on Facebook. As you complete the lesson, to just cut off the side of the page because it makes an easy way to find where you're up to. So there we go. There are cutouts that come in the appendix of the book that you'll be referred to, and you'll grab them from the back and add them to the activity. So I'm going to try go to the beginning of a week maybe so that you can see what a typical week would look like. So here we go. You've got the letter Q. This is something that they're working on. So you're going to get to know the letter Q. Usually you learn about the letter and its name before you learn the letter and its sound. So you'll go over that, and then just letter recognition. They'll do learning your different colors. So they'll tell you to color some purple, some yellow. That's something they do a lot. And then here they get to play with the letter Q. So they'll cut it out and then get to decorate it however they wish to. So there's 3 worksheets for each lesson usually. And then on this page, whoopsie daisies, here they're showing you that Q can look quite a few different ways. And so it's just teaching kids like different fonts and being able to recognize a Q. So it's just working on letter recognition basically for that first day. Then the next day, they focus on a number because this is letters and numbers. And so here, they're focusing on, they go through numbers 1 through 10. So we're up to number 8 here, you'll see. And again, just figuring out where it is. They'll probably practice counting to 8. Here, they'll cut out and match these up with, they'll count the items and match them to the number. Now, I do help with some of the cutting out because I feel like it would take forever if you always had them cut everything out. So, and some things are tricky. Like that's pretty tricky for a 4-year-old to do. So I'll help her cut that out. And then on this page, your child will get a chance to practice writing their name. Now, my daughter Annie is she's got wonderful fine motor skills, and she is very artistically minded. And so, like here, it tells you to trace to write their name out and then they trace over it, she can totally do hers freehand. She doesn't need my help for that. So you can make that work for your child however you want, but it's teaching them about like spatial reasoning and like how to form their letters based on the writing line, which is great. And then here, there's a lot of this in their books where they'll trace along the line to the end like that. So it's just teaching them good skills there. And it moves on to Q, and now it's talking about the sound that Q makes. And so you'll focus on, my daughter would like read out what these are, not read them out, but tell me what these different items are, and then circle the ones that start with the Q sound. So there's that. And then here again, finding things that start with the Q sound. Some more cutting out and just attaching them here, cutting and gluing. Sometimes if my daughter doesn't want to cut, because she doesn't always want to, I'll just get her to draw lines to each thing, because sometimes she's just not into it, and that's fine. And so this is just like a little bit of nature study thrown in there. And then usually at the end of the week, they have some kind of like story prompt. So they'll tell you to get your child to dictate to you a story, which you will write down, and then they will draw a picture to illustrate their story. And I can tell you, my daughter's come up with some very interesting ones. So that's been fun. On this side, there's counting and matching up with numbers. And here at the end of the week, they usually get to make their own little book for that specific letter. So you cut that out and staple it together, and then they can color it in. And that is usually what a week looks like. And it goes through each letter. Now, some of the activities are repetitive, but they do kind of change it up a little bit for each letter. They're not all identical. There are lots of different activities. And I will try and find, well, I'll just flip to the back of the book because that'll be easier. Right at the back, you've got your appendix, and here's like the cutouts for certain things. So this is like it's matched up with its lesson. You can see here. Here you've got another one that's for lesson 48. There. So I love that everything is in there that you need. And this would be super easy to take with you somewhere. Like if you were going somewhere and you just want to take school with, this is very easy. You need very few, like pack a pencil case full of pencils and crayons, and you're pretty much good to go. Maybe some scissors and glue. Yeah. It's a wonderful, because I had a comment on here about like preschool programs and how you basically have to go out and buy a whole ton of stuff to make them work. This is not like that. This is very, very open and go, and I really appreciate that. So that is the flip through. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions for me, just leave them down in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
The world had more of your smile. What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars.